Good morning everybody, unless of course you're watching this video in the evening, then in that case good evening, and you are watching Time Travel TV, and welcome to the year 1939. Today we're going to be looking at the start of World War II. We're not looking at how it's starting, we're just going to look at what happened at the start. So first things first, who was the leader of Germany in 1939? The leader of Germany in 1939 was Adolf Hitler, and if that name doesn't ring a bell, an easier video might be suitable for you. One of his main policies was Lebensraum. Lebensraum means living space. He wanted to take over large parts of this to live in. Not personally, he wanted the whole German race to occupy it. Especially, I'll move the map across because I'm not very better. So, especially this bit. Now, in the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, Germany lost quite a lot of land. Chiefly this bit here called Danzig. Anyway, problem was that they gave Danzig to Poland to give them access to the sea. The problem was this split off East Prussia from the rest of Germany, so Hitler wanted it back. And he asked the Polish, and the Polish said no, which is Polish for no. So he said, well, we're going to have to invade Poland, but contrary to popular belief, you can't just invade a country for no reason. So he dressed some of his own soldiers up as Polish soldiers and got them to attack Germany. He then did a speech saying, "This is terrible, we've got to retaliate." Hitler didn't actually have a squeaky voice. Don't write that here in the exam. What do you know about Adolf Hitler? I knew he had a squeaky voice. No, don't write that. On the 1st of September 1939, he invaded here, here and here into Poland. On the 3rd of September 1939, Britain declared war on Germany to support Poland. 3 hours later, France declared war on Germany to support Poland. So, then what happened is that not long after that, Russia, the USSR I should really say, invaded Poland here, here and here. Now, oh dear me, pardon. At this point, although Germany was fascist and Russia was communist, they had a non-aggression pact going on. So at this point they're friends, but we'll find out in a later video this did not last. Anyway, what then happened was that Poland capitulated and we ended something called the Phony War, which was a name given to the war by an American reporter. The Germans called it the Blitzkrieg or Sitting War, whatever you call it, doesn't really matter. We'll use this opportunity to talk about German tactics. So the German tactics was called Blitzkrieg or Lightning War, which was laid out in a book by Heinz Guderian, who's a very clever general and one of my favourites in fact. I also like Dietl, or one of the lesser known ones, but that's for another day. Anyway, Heinz Guderian wrote a book called Achtung Panzer, which lays out the ideas of Blitzkrieg, which basically means that tanks, the infantry, the artillery, the air force, all working together to strike hard and fast in the enemy, which is the secret of their success. The problem was, it was a British idea. The British gave it to Heinz Guderian, who wrote a book on it, who Germans adopted it. The British said, no, that's too fast, we like to be boring. So, it gets annoying, this bit does, because you get all these missed opportunities. Anyway, in the Phony War, very little happened. There was a battle for the plate, but that was in South America, so we don't care about that. I'm sorry, South America, but we're only looking at European history at the moment. And there was also the invasion of Finland by the USSR. Sorry, Finland, you're also not on the map, but we can't have everybody on the map, otherwise we'll have Australians and Canadians and Americans on the map as well. And you want to be fairly inclusive, and we just couldn't fit you on. Anyway, you have to pretend it's there. Finland, trust me, is about there. And they were part of Russia until 1918. So Finland didn't really like Russia that much. So Russia tried to invade them again in the winter of 1939-1940. And what happened was that the Finnish used snipers on skis, and they were very effective technique. And it took quite a while to subdue them. In fact, it took a renewed offensive by the Russians to eventually for the Finnish to capitulate. By this time, Hitler, this leader of Germany, coincidentally, would also become interested in Scandinavia. He wanted to invade Norway. Problem was, there was a big country in the way. Oh my God! Crumbs! If you want, you can fast forward that part of the video. Dear me! So, Hitler had also become interested in Scandinavia. He wanted to invade Norway. The problem was there was a country away called Denmark. He would have to invade Denmark as well. Denmark, with its pacifistic government, didn't take very long to invade. In fact, it only took 3 hours before they surrendered. Anyway, then they invaded Norway. Britain and France went to Norway's aid, and they had some big battles against them. Some ground defeats for the French and British, some sea victories. Although Norway didn't actually have an army, they had a militia, which was what the Americans had in the American War of Independence. Coincidentally, putting on my world history hat, and the reason why there are so many guns in America come from the bit of a Declaration of Independence, which says the right to bear arms, which comes from the local militia in the Revolutionary War, as the Americans call it. So that's got nothing to do with this, but I thought it might be quite interesting. Anyway, use this end of a stick, it's better. Although soon, England and France, which are helping Norway, they wouldn't want to help Norway soon because they had bigger problems coming. On the 10th of May 1940, two big things happened. One, Britain had a new Prime Minister because Chamberlain resigned. It was either going to be Halifax or Churchill. Halifax or Churchill. And Chamberlain chose Halifax. No, just kidding. He chose Winston Churchill. Also, Germany invaded the Netherlands. Coincidentally, commiserations to the Netherlands, who lost their Women's World Cup final yesterday. You played very well, but the Americans were just that little bit better. Anyway, now time for the Blitzkrieg into Western Europe. France had built the Maginot Line here, and which has built a lot of defences. They'd also put most of their forces along here with the help of Britain. No forces here at all. Well, actually, we put some forces there, but not very many. About a lot less than here and here. Put some forces in the Ardennes forest. The Ardennes forest is supposed to be impassable to tanks, so no one's going to drive their tanks through there. Apart from Hitler. Hitler said, okay, we were going to do the Schlieffen Plan, which is what we did in the First World War, which is like this. I think we should go like this and try and circle the forces there, which is what they did. Remember, Ardennes impassable to tanks? Well, I lied. Apparently it is, because Hitler tried it and it's not. So evidently it's not impassable to tanks. So we've all learned something today. If you've got plenty of tanks, drive them through the Ardennes forest, because they can pass through. Anyway, through they went, encircled the Allied forces. They had to escape via Dunkirk. You may have seen the film. And eventually, after such crippling defeats, the French surrendered. Of course, there was Vichy France, but that we won't go there because that's another story. Britain, with their forces depleted, Germany sued for peace with them. They said that Britain come onto our side, we'll be best mates. And Churchill, who was the new Prime Minister, said, we shall fight them on the beaches, we shall fight them on the landing grounds, we will never surrender. That wasn't bad. We tried to get the guy from Darkest Hour to do it, but he wasn't available. Anyway, because Germany tried to invade Britain, but there was this big blue bit in the way called the English Channel, which is damn annoying. And And a chap in Berlin, very important chap called Goering, said he was head of the Luftwaffe, or German Air Force. He said he could destroy the RAF, the British Air Force, in 4 days. This laid the scene for the Battle of Britain and the attempt to try and invade Britain. And that's story for another day. We will look at the Battle of Britain in a separate video, and the rest of World War II coincidentally. In a separate video, we'll be also looking at whether Britain could have been invaded in the summer of 1940 or not. And that is where I'm going to leave it there. And cheerio. If you've got any questions, please remember to leave them in the comments. And remember to keep calm and carry on.